Title, Static on the Radio. It started with a key. A completely wrong key. I was arguing with the landlord, Mr. Henderson, a man whose perpetual frown seemed permanently etched into his face about the exorbitant rent on the studio apartment. He'd just slammed the door, leaving me fuming, when a notification popped up on my phone. Roommate assignment, Leo Maxwell. WTF? I tracked Leo down to a ridiculously oversized, aggressively minimalist apartment overflowing with vintage synthesizers. He was hunched over one, meticulously tweaking knobs. He didn't look up when I introduced myself, just muttered, "Maxwell, look, I'm really not thrilled about this," I said, trying to sound reasonable. There was a mix-up. I was supposed to have this place. You're a musician, right? He finally glanced up, his eyes a startling shade of grey. It's Leo, and yes, I make electronic music, mostly ambient noise designed to evoke existential dread. The next few weeks were a disaster. He was obsessed with scheduling the lighting to perfectly complement his music. I couldn't stand the constant low hum. He'd leave half-finished cups of black coffee everywhere, and he had this weird habit of talking to his synthesizers. I'd snap at him, and he'd respond with cryptic comments about the nature of reality. "You're projecting your anxieties onto the sonic landscape," he'd say, completely deadpan. One evening, I was working late, struggling with a coding project, and just needed some quiet. I slammed my laptop shut, frustration boiling over. He walked in, didn't say anything, and started playing a track. It wasn't the usual ambient dread, it was beautiful. Layers of synth and subtle percussion, it was strangely comforting. He explained he'd been listening to my frustrated typing, subconsciously trying to create a soundscape that mirrored my struggle. "It's a conversation, isn't it?" he said quietly. That was the beginning. We started talking, really talking, about our fears, our dreams, our pasts. I discovered he was a brilliant, incredibly sensitive soul, haunted by a childhood spent moving around the world with his musician parent. He, in turn, saw past my cynicism and learned to appreciate my dry wit. We started cooking together surprisingly good meals, considering our culinary skills. We built a ridiculous fort out of blankets and pillows, and spent hours just talking. I even started to enjoy the low hum of his synthesizers. It became a sort of background to our conversations. One night, while we were sitting on the floor, listening to his music, he turned to me and said, "You know, I never thought I'd find someone who understood the static." I reached out and took his hand. His eyes held a warmth that melted my defenses. And then, without a word, I kissed him. It wasn't a dramatic, cinematic kiss. It was quiet, tentative, and utterly perfect. It was like a melody resolving itself, finally finding its harmony. Now, weeks later, we're still roommates.